the right-wing activist Charlie Kirk has been shot dead at a university in Utah. He was 31 years old. In the last hour, the Republican governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has been speaking at a news conference.
This is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation. That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. The first one of those is life. And today, a life was taken.
Well, a close friend of Charlie Kirk and former Republican for Ohio, Bob McEwen, was speaking to Kate Borsay on Times Radio when the news broke.
That is a tragedy to the cause of freedom. Young people, there was always a saying that you didn't need to worry about young people until they got married or had a job, and they would write themselves that liberalism and socialism and communism was the fashion when you're young. But what he said and did made it such that the most conservative demographic in America is the 18 to 25-year-olds. And that's solely, I credit him and no other major source as to what, just by telling the truth, how they turned. And so that is a genuinely sad for those who love freedom.
Bob McEwen speaking on Times Radio a little earlier. Well, let's talk to Amy Koch, who's a former Republican Majority Leader of the Minnesota Senate. Good evening to you, Amy.
Good evening, Carol. Thank you for having me.
Well, just give us your reaction to the shooting of Charlie Kirk, his death confirmed just over a couple of hours ago.
So, I mean, we continue to be stunned. And the political violence continues, and to a point where it's just hard for me to even think about where it's going to end. So Charlie Kirk, whatever side of the aisle you're on, it is impossible to deny the influence that he exerted at an incredibly young age. So like him or not, agree with him, disagree with him, he was so incredibly influential, and he started as a teenager. 2012 is when he founded Turning Point, and has been a part of the political discourse for a very long time, much longer than would belie a 31-year-old man. And so to have that stuffed out in front of everyone so publicly, of course, the videos of the shooting are everywhere, and they're bloody and they're horrible. And to think about then to see the pictures of him and his young family, his beautiful two children, his wife, it's hard to put into words how indescribably sad and angry and frustrated and dark this feels for America.
Just tell us a bit more about why he was such a powerful figure, because many people listening here in the UK may not be as familiar with what he was doing, his profile, with his work, as audiences there in the United States.
So Charlie Kirk, and look, even sometimes as a conservative, I didn't agree with everything that he did. But what Charlie Kirk started is really a movement aimed at, the 18 to 25-year-olds, the college students, which you had a former interview that talked about how, for a very long time, conservatives just kind of said, look, you're going to be a socialist in college, and we're not really going to have that conversation. And Charlie Kirk decided, no, we're going to go and we're going to speak to folks of all ages. And in particular, I am going to focus on 18 to 25-year-olds and just talk to them about my ideas and present to them conservative ideas and let them choose. And he took the conservative debate to a place where it really hadn't been much, which is college campuses. College campuses in America are just notoriously sort of liberal thought grounds, and he fearlessly went into those places and debated. It really was a movement about free speech. And again, agree or disagree, he faced and debated people from very disparate beliefs. In fact, he had a very high profile debate scheduled at Dartmouth with a far left commentator as well. He formerly of the Young Turks. He did not shy away from it. He greeted and debated and discussed issues with anyone, and I think that was like so very attractive to people, because again, whether you agreed with them or not all the time, you had to respect that he was really truly about freedom of speech, and speaking your mind in an arena that can sometimes feel, where people kind of want to just go to their corners and not talk to each other and live in a silo. And he didn't. He took conservatism to a whole different world.
There's a terrible irony, isn't there, Amy, that he was actually speaking about the availability of guns, and he was a strong supporter of the right to bear arms, which, the culture on this is so different there in the United States than it is here in the UK. But do you think there are now going to be further questions about how easy it is to get hold of a gun there in the United States?
Yeah, continuously. And I'm here in Minnesota, where we recently had the violent shooting up at a school mass. It was a Catholic school mass where 2 children were killed. And earlier this summer, and it has been a very terrible summer for us, we had the political assassination of our former Minnesota Speaker of the House and her husband, as well as a state senator that were gunned down in their homes. In another assassination. And so, yes, we're going to have that conversation, but yes, we also have to have the conversation about the political rhetoric that has been ramped up to levels in this country that are completely unacceptable. We have decided to talk about each other as them and they and us and the enemy and evil and good, instead of just having wholesome debates where we disagree on a variety of issues, and then we come together as people and as friends and as Americans. We've just decided that the enemy is within, and it's not that people that engage in all that rhetoric are going to be, pulling these kind of political assassinations, but they contribute to it. And it is on every American to talk about that and own that as well.
Yeah, and because, the depths of the division there in the United States, the gulf between 2 different political tribes there in the United States, that is really deeper than ever, isn't it?
It's become feral, and it has become... the assassination of Speaker Hortman here, the man texted his family, his wife and his children, and said, "Dad went to war." And now in his messed up mind, that's what he thought he was doing. But let me tell you, I know people that talk about the other side of the political aisle in exactly those same terms. And again, maybe they won't do something so heinous as gun down people in their homes for political means, but they contribute to that, and it's got to end. I've been deeply political. I've been conservative my entire life. I'm very proud of that. I come from a very conservative family, and I would never speak about people on the other side of the aisle in those terms. I have so many great friends that we disagree. We just come from different perspectives, and that's how we've got to do it. Like, have a great debate. I'm I'll get in there and exchange barbs and debates with the best of the progressive liberals, and in the end come together around what you can believe, what you love about this country, what you love about people, and have the humanity to recognize humanity in the other people. And we're just missing it. We're really missing it, Carol.
Amy Koch, former Republican Majority Leader of the Minnesota Senate. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.